In 2023, when my relationship with my father became unbearable, I decided to move out of the house and start renting a small wooden house for a few months. The main tenant of this house, whom I will call the landlord for the sake of clarity, was also having personal problems that forced him to leave the house, so I was able to rent it back easily. This was a small wooden house, located separately at the end of a dirt road, with a few similar houses nearby. The house had 2 floors, with a small kitchen, a decent living room, and a bedroom on the second floor. What was special was that to get to the upper floor, you had to climb a small staircase and open a strange cellar door. Although the house was not large for me at that time, it was really ideal to get away from the tensions and conflicts with my father. After a month of living there, I paid my second month's rent and felt completely comfortable in the space. As usual, after a 12-hour shift, I was exhausted and just wanted to go home, have a quick snack, and then go to bed to watch TV until I fell asleep. That night was no different. After making a peanut butter sandwich and a protein shake, I climbed into bed and turned on the TV. Before lying down, I made sure to close the basement door because I didn't feel safe leaving it open. However, while I was lying in bed watching TV, I suddenly heard a voice from below. "Who's up there?" My heart stopped for a moment. The voice came from inside the house, or so I thought, but it could have come from outside. I immediately turned off the TV and slowly crawled to the round window on the wall looking out. There was no one there, but the darkness everywhere made me even more nervous. I asked, "Who's there?" But the only answer I got was dead silence. I grabbed the handle of the cellar door, opened it, and looked down the stairs. In a moment of panic, I even called my father's name, hoping that maybe he was here, but there was no answer. I slowly walked down the stairs, my heart pounding. Everything was quiet, no sign of anyone down there. I turned on the light switch. The light flooded the living room, and I told myself that maybe the sound was coming from outside. But even so, the panic did not disappear. I turned on the front light and looked out the window. No one was there. I decided to turn off the light and go back to the bedroom, closing the cellar door tightly and going to bed. When I turned the TV back on, only a few minutes later, loud banging noises came from under the floor. The loud noise seemed to scare me, and this time I knew for sure that someone was in the house. I did not dare to move, just lay still, my heart pounding. The thought that someone could easily open the cellar door and rush in sent a chill down my spine. I lay there for about 20 minutes, not daring to move. Finally, when I felt everything was quiet again, I decided to go find the phone to call the police. But when I looked around the bed, I realized that the phone was not there. Maybe I had left it downstairs. I carefully opened the door and looked down the stairs. The flickering light from the TV made it all but dim. I walked down the stairs without turning on the lights, and as soon as I reached the bottom floor, I immediately ran out the back door, barefoot towards the nearest house with lights. I banged on the door repeatedly, hoping to find help. But when I looked through the window, I saw a man staring at me from inside, not reacting, not saying a word. The silence and his strange look frightened me, and I started to back away, feeling a chill down my spine. At that moment, I suspected that this man might have something to do with what happened in my house. Not daring to stay any longer, I returned to my rented house. When I returned, the back door was still closed as I had left it. I locked it tightly and turned on all the lights in the house, deciding to search for the stranger in my phone. Finally, I found the phone in the car, where I had accidentally left it. I returned to the house, but when I got to the bedroom, I was horrified to find a man sitting on the bed staring at the TV screen. I screamed, and the man slowly turned his head to look in my direction. In just a split second, I turned and ran down the stairs and out of the house, calling 911 as I ran. I got in the car, locked the door, and talked to the operator, not taking my eyes off the house. I saw a man's shadow silently cross the backyard and disappear into the woods. When the police arrived, they checked the house but found no one. The police advised me to stay somewhere else for the night. I decided to go back to my father's house for the time being. After packing up the next day, I left, and the landlord agreed to refund part of the rent. Strangely, he only asked me what the man looked like, and then didn't ask any more questions, which made me wonder if he knew anything about it. Maybe I was just overthinking it, but that uneasy feeling remained. It was a Tuesday night around 11 p.m. in 2013, and I was walking down a dark road on my way home from work. My car was under repair, so I was forced to walk the 3 miles home every day. The walk took about an hour, so I usually got home before midnight. I lived in a small town in southern Indiana, where traffic was rare after 10 p.m. The only vehicles you would see were delivery trucks heading toward Indianapolis. I had gone about a mile when I turned onto a dirt road. My house was off the main road, so I had to walk through the deserted dirt roads surrounded by trees to get home. As I turned onto the dirt road, I heard the sound of an engine in the distance, getting closer and closer, but at a very slow speed. I saw from a distance, about 400 meters away, a truck moving slowly without its headlights on. At first, I didn't find this unusual because my town had a cheap used car dealership that sold trucks and vans with broken parts like headlights. I just assumed that this person must be one of their customers. I continued walking on the side road while the truck continued to quietly move onto the main road. But then, I was startled when I heard the engine roar and the truck accelerated rapidly. At this time, its headlights came on. I felt uneasy, but I tried not to show it. As the truck approached the turn onto the dirt road, it suddenly turned off its headlights and slowed down, which really scared me. I started walking faster, not daring to turn back, but the feeling of fear made me look back. When I looked back, I saw that the truck had turned onto the dirt road and was still coming towards me. When I was only about 150 meters away from the truck, I decided to run as fast as I could. I didn't want to turn back, but I couldn't help but worry about what might happen. Once again, I turned around and felt my heart stop when I saw the horrifying scene. The truck had stopped. Both front doors were wide open. Panicking, I ran as fast as I could into the nearby woods and hid behind a large rock. From a distance, I heard a middle-aged man's voice echo, "I think she ran into the woods." My heart almost dropped when I heard the 3 young girls reply, "Yes, sir, we will find her." At this point, the fear was not only about being caught, but also that I might be dragged into some cruel group. I tried to cover my mouth to keep from making a sound, while the man continued, "Whoever finds her will not be punished tonight." A million terrifying thoughts ran through my head. Was this a satanic cult? Were those girls kidnapped? Was I being turned into one of them? I sat motionless behind the rock, listening to every sound around me. Every little noise made me tremble. Time seemed to stop, each second passing like a lifetime. Then suddenly, the red and blue lights of a police car appeared outside the forest. I rushed out of my hiding place, screaming for help. A policeman approached and asked, "Do you know about the body?" I replied, bewildered. "What body?" Before my eyes was the most horrible scene I had ever seen. The truck was no longer in sight. I hurriedly told the police everything, from the car, the man, to the girls. The police said they would investigate further and kindly took me home. That night, I couldn't sleep. From my bedroom window, I saw the truck again, this time without its lights on, slowly driving down the street in front of my house. I quickly wrote down the license plate number and called the police immediately. When the police arrived, the truck was gone, but what they told me made me even more terrified. We checked the license plate number. It's registered in South Dakota. But the strange thing is that we've had reports from other places across the country of suspicious trucks with the same license plate tonight. In Vermont, Nevada, Alaska, and Texas. The police said they would contact me if they had more information, but I never got a call. I don't believe in the paranormal, so I assumed it was some kind of cult using fake license plates to commit grisly acts across the country. But I'll probably never know. I moved out of Indiana, and from then on, whenever I saw anything suspicious, I would run away immediately.